from the exciting start. There'll be two starts today. Our first D25 is an Apache with no name. We've got the green flag and we've got racing. Spirit Special on the inside takes an early lead over Runaway. But here comes D25. Assault drops back slightly. G. Willikers hanging tough on the outside. Good clean start. Runaway, that all-red boat on the outside, looking very strong. D25 really making a move. That Apache is a tough racing boat, and he's certainly making up some ground right now. Spirit Special with a quick lead is starting to extend it slightly, and we'll wait and have to see how this race unfolds. Just what will the strategy be here? These racers know how rough it is right now, and they don't want to go out and break anything. There you see the ground that D25 is making up as he's taking a slight lead over Runaway. And looking back on the pack, that's G. Willikers, relatively still in the same place on the outside, and on the inside was the Assault Race Team. D25, the Apache, taking a slight lead over Runaway right there. There's Spirit Special. Back to D25, and Runaway is in third place. Gives you an idea of the distances between your first, second, and third place competitor right now. Mandy Fernandez has Spirit Special looking very strong at this point in the race, and he begins to extend a slight lead over D25, the Apache. Runaway still hanging strong in third place. As they round that first checkpoint, we are directly overhead. Mandy Fernandez's D39 Spirit Special. This is a 38-foot cigarette powered by twin 730 horsepower Mercury inboards with Mercruiser outdrives. This boat is owned and throttled by the great Mandy Fernandez from Miami, Florida. He's got John Tomlinson from North Miami, Florida as his driver, and Tony Fernandez, the navigator, also hailing from Miami. They've taken a first place in Sundays, and they've taken a third place at St. Petersburg. So Spirit Special is obviously in the hunt for the overall championship here. It is going to be between Spirit Special and US 1 Boat Manufacturing, Bernie's boat, and it's going to be between Bernie and Mandy to see who is going to be your overall champion in the D class here today. But right now, Mandy Fernandez is obviously making a statement in his 38-foot cigarette. Just listen to this boat go right now. Although it is a little rough right here, this cigarette has no problem coping with these weather conditions. This boat is really looking good, and part of the thing that makes it look good are some of the people who do get involved with Mandy Fernandez, and there are a few people that he'd like to thank. He'd like to extend a very warm thanks to Eurotech Performance for the sponsorship on the Offshore Powerboat Racing Association Series, and of course, Hawk Engines, who have really provided Mandy with some help, and Johnny at TNT Rigging, who has really lent some help to Mandy Fernandez and their Spirit Special race team. So as you can see, they really have their work cut out for them today. They are making a statement right here today. They are the boat that must be challenged. They're setting the pace right now, and we wish them all the best as Mandy Fernandez and the Spirit Special race team continue in their quest for the championship at Holiday Isle. You've just been listening to a boat really going through its paces. Mandy has that boat really cranking. Right now, here's another boat hanging very tough with them. D25. It has no name, but it is a 41-foot Apache that is powered by twin 700 horsepower Mercury inboard motors with MerCruiser outrides. This boat is totally a Miami, Florida crew. It is owned by Jorge Aparicio. You've got Rolando Piega on throttles, Orlando Gomez your driver, and Carlos Suarez as your navigator. The 41 Apache crew, and coming on the inside and coming off a little bit is Spirit Special. Mandy Fernandez does seem to be backing off the throttle slightly. We hope that there's nothing serious for the Spirit Special race team, but obviously we'll just have to wait and see if we can bring you a further update. But right now we're staying a boat that seems to be having very little difficulties right now, and Rolando really has this boat cranking right now. Listen to this boat go. There you get an idea of Spirit Special on the inside and D25 on the outside. Aparicio's boat, being throttled today by Piega, is looking very strong at this point in the race, and we wish them all the best as this race begins to unfold. This is their first race, so we'll just have to wait and see what these guys are all about. They probably want to get one in under their belt and come back strong for the 1989 campaign. D25. We've just turned Alligator Lighthouse and we're heading out toward the rougher leg right here on this race course. And right here you can get an idea of just how rough it is with the D25. D25, they seem to be slowing up here at the race course, backing off the throttles and coming almost to a stop right now. We hope this is nothing serious, but they seem to be at a dead stop in the middle of the race course and coming off plane and just sitting there. We'll have to get back here and see if we can bring you a further update on it. Here we come up on a boat that is certainly not stopped. This is the all-red 34-foot Coyote known as Runaway. D4, and they look like they're running away with things right now. This 34-foot Coyote is powered by twin 600 horsepower Mercury inboard motors with MerCruiser drives. This is their first place, and they are presently unofficially running in first place in class, holding off Assault and Spirit Special. This boat is owned and driven by Peter Hernandez from Miami, Florida. He's got Fernando Correga on throttles, and Fernando just had to do a bit of tricky throttling right there as the boat came way out of the water, but they're back on plane now and running strong. And you've got Lionel Santos, your navigator, also from Miami, Florida. So the crew of Hernandez, Correga, and Santos making up the Runaway race team. And these guys certainly hope to be running away with the pack in D-Class today, and they're presently doing it right now. This 34-foot Coyote is dialed in very nicely right now. The boat seems to be going through the rough leg of the course with relative ease, and if all goes well for them, they should be in the winner's circle at the end of the race and challenging very strong right now. They are the boat to catch in D-Class, and they're doing a great job right now. So let's sit back and enjoy D4, the Runaway race team. And on the starboard side, running with Runaway right there, you see Ron Thibodeau's chopper, that is. Ron Thibodeau, one of the best photographers of offshore racing still photography. He does a great job, and he's a great friend of Jeff and the entire freeze frame video crew. And Ron's out there once again shooting those prize-winning stills, and freeze frame, besides the video, is also shooting still shots also. We would like to just say hello to Ron Thibodeau for the fine job he's done. Right now we're coming up on 25. This is the boat known as Assault. Assault is on the outside, and running on the inside of him is Runaway, who you saw earlier on. These two boats are in the same class. Runaway and Assault are in your first and second place boats right now in D class, being that Mandy Fernandez's Spirit Special has backed off a little. We'll try to get some updated information as to what is the problem with Mandy and the rest of his boat. So they've dropped back to third place. Runaway is in first place, trying to hold off the hard-charging Assault. Boat number 25, it's known as Assault. This is a 37 5-inch black cigarette powered by twin 640 horsepower Mercury inboard motors with Merc Cruiser drives. This boat is owned by Jorge Ferro from Miami, Florida. It is driven by Ed Shear from Miami, Florida. It is being throttled by Mousy, also hailing from Miami. And rounding out the crew as your navigator is Robert Galen, also from Miami, Florida. Listen to Mousy do his bit on the throttles. As this boat comes in and out of the water so many times, the throttle man really has his work cut out for him today in such a rough water race. They'll really be getting a workout today, and a good throttle man can make the difference between first and second place on a race such as today. Part of the Assault race team that they'd like to extend a special thanks to is Jim Berry from Expert Engines, who the entire Assault crew hopes to see at the next race with the fuel injections with him, and they feel that will be advantageous to them. That's Jim Berry that they'd like to thank. And of course, this is Assault's first race, and they hope to be back strong for 89. And with a good effort here, it will keep them motivated and really arouse the enthusiasm and interest needed to campaign this boat fully next year in the 89 Gold Coast Cup Series. Right here, you're looking at a good-looking boat, the Assault race team running very strong as it tries to track down Runaway. There you get an idea of just how far Runaway has extended their lead over the Assault race team. But obviously, the Assault team does have Runaway dead in their sights, and they're charging hard to overtake the lead. This boat is trimmed way up right now, and they're riding a little loose and way on top of the waves, as you can see. Perhaps coming off a little on trim could propel them a little easier over this rough water, but we'll just have to wait and see as to whether or not this strategy does pay off, as the Assault race team is really charging hard and tracking down Runaway. Obviously, as you can see, Assault is closing the gap between himself and Bernardo's boat, Runaway. You've got Cigarette against Coyote. The Cigarette hull of Assault is trying to close the gap, and they've certainly cut down a little right now. He's cut the lead in half from the start of when we first brought you this exciting duel of the two boats going head to head, and he's even making up ground right now as you watch. But really riding very high on the tail end of that boat. That could cut down on some of his time. But Runaway is also running hard right here and coming out of the water. This is the roughest part of the race course right now, and these boats are doing everything possible just to make a decent average speed through these seas. A lot of rough action right here. These guys are certainly getting a workout, as well as the boat and equipment. Whoever wins this one is really going to be a true endurance champion. This is Runaway's first race, as we've said earlier on, and they're certainly proving that they are a formidable race team right here at this point in the race, because they are able to hold off the hard-charging Assault race team right now. Runaway race team really doing a job throttling. It's come over the radios now that Spirit Special and D25 are both stopped in the race course. We hear unofficially that D25 is taking on water and Spirit Special is experiencing some mechanical difficulties. Hopefully they'll both be able to get going, but the one taking on water could have some serious problems, but Mandy might be able to get the Spirit Special back on track. We'll have to wait and see as the race unfolds, but here you're watching the run of Runaway with Assault in the background closing the gap. From the red boat known as Runaway, we come up on the all-white boat C-37 known as Endangered Species. This is a 34-foot Sutphen powered by twin 550 horsepower Innovation Marine inboard motors with Arneson outdrives. This boat is owned by Fast 34 Incorporated from Frostproof, Florida. Your driver is Clayton Wilson from Frostproof, Florida. Tim Noto is your navigator from Orlando, and Rick Lamore is on throttles from Sarasota. This is a brand new team for the 1988 campaign, and just recently in Atlantic City, they took a second place with a very dominating performance in their class. This is their second race, and they're still looking very good, carrying down some of that luck and skill that they had at Atlantic City. Innovation Marine, who does the motors on this boat, rigs outboard boats, inboard motors, and there you see Runaway as Endangered Species is trying to close the gap. Different class boats. One is in C, one is in D, but you do have some competition as Runaway goes by on the port side of Endangered Species. But back to Innovation Marine. They rig boats with outboard and inboard motors, as well as builders of high-performance motors. Innovation Marine, who does a great job on many of the race boats out here today. C37, endangered species, looking very good right here at the Budweiser 100. And Rick Lamore just seems to be doing a fine job on the throttles as they really try to get endangered species picking up some speed right now and trying to overtake some of the other boats who are in the lead in C-Class right now. His main competition is going to be Blackjack, the heat is on, and Black Sunday. So endangered species is going for it right here at this point in race. C37, the endangered species. Now we come up on D13. This is the boat known as G. Willikers. It is a white, black, and red 32-foot 1987 Scorpion boat. This boat is sponsored by G. Willikers Nightclub in Pompano, Florida. This has got two Sunrise Auto motors with 540 horsepower apiece. This boat is really doing a fine job right now. This boat is owned by Scorpion Powerboats from Miami, Florida. On throttles, you've got Julio de Verona from Miami, Eddie Marin is your driver from Fort Lauderdale, and Manuel Gomez is your navigator, also from Miami. I'd like to extend a special thanks to the G. Willikers Nightclub and all their staff who've done a fine job, and of course Eddie Marin Sr. for everything that he's done at Offshore Marine. They've done a fine job for this crew. Julio's really doing his job here on the throttles right now. As we've said earlier, just as every throttle man on every race crew has his work cut out for him, Julio is certainly no different than anyone else, with the exception that he does have quite a bit of experience, and he's really letting it all air out today in these rough racing conditions. D13, the G. Willikers race crew having a fine run at the Isle Morada Budweiser 100. Tough break here for G. Willikers. They seem to be slowing down, obviously coming off plane and coming to a complete stop on the race course. The rough seas are certainly taking its toll right now on many of these competitors. Many boats dropping out of competition right now, and G. Willikers seems to be joining the ranks of the disabled boats here on the race course. Now we come up on a local boat, maxed out. Basically, a run what you brung boat. He'll be running 2 laps here today. This is a 22-foot Stingray with gray hull and deck, powered by a single 260 horsepower Mercury inboard motor. This boat is owned and driven by Russell Bowley from Nokomis, Florida, and Michael Nix is on throttles from Placida, Florida. This boat seems to be doing a good job right here. That 260 horsepower Merc inboard is putting out quite a bit of power right now. However, with only a 22-foot hull and these rough conditions, the race crew of Maxed Out are certainly going to be maxed out when this race is all over. You see how rough it is in some of the bigger boats who are taking a severe pounding. Now imagine going through conditions like that in a 22-foot hull. These guys know what it's all about, and we're going to watch them for a little while and just share in some of the excitement that they will be experiencing, as well as the pounding that Maxed Out will be taking right now. The Maxed Out race team out here in some rough water. As we leave Maxed Out, we come up on a good rough running water boat. This is the Lucky Strike Race Team A71. It is a 30-foot Sonic powered by twin 300 horsepower Mercury inboard motors. This boat is owned by Lloyd Gutenberg from Boca Raton, Florida. He's got Jeff Millinghauser as his driver and Bill Butterfield as your navigator from Burlington, New Jersey. The Lucky Strike Race Team is having a fine day. They're presently in first place with a slight lead over Shortcut and Team Gulfwind, who is your points leader in the A-Class. So this could certainly change the stats in the A-Class with a good win here by the Lucky Strike Race Team. There's an interesting storyline that goes along with the overall Lucky Strike Race Team. When they set out to pick a boat, they wanted to pick the right boat. And they came down to Florida and they chose a Sonic hull. They were able to choose from all models between 24 feet and 44 feet, and they settled on the 30SS, the 30-foot stock hull, a production line boat that they thought would do them the best job out here in the open waters. What you're looking at right now is a true stock boat with the exception of that bolster. If you were to move that racing bolster, then this would be a true pleasure Sonic boat that anyone can acquire off the production assembly line. Sonic is a proven boat for rough waters, and as you can see, it is very, very competitive. They have just recently won back-to-back championships in the Cobra Offshore Challenge, and who could forget their memorable performance at the War Offshore at Trump's Castle in Atlantic City. And this boat has run in all 3 divisions. They've run in the Central, Northern, and Southern Division of the race circuit down here, and they've had very good luck. So the Lucky Strike Race Team, with their choice of the Sonic hull, has felt that they've done an excellent job. And as you can see right now in the rough water conditions, this Sonic hull is doing the job that it was designed to do, and it is holding together very nicely and running very strong. Presently in first place, as we've said earlier, and doing a great job in this rough water. The Sonic hull with the name Lucky Strike on it is doing a great job, and Gutenberg, Millinghauser, and Butterfield of the Lucky Strike Race Team are having a great run, and they're very confident about this boat's performance. The Lucky Strike Race Team. Lucky Strike having a very good run, as you've seen. Looking very strong right now at this point in the race. Now we're coming up on another strong boat, A11, the boat known as Smoking Section. This is a 27-foot cigarette with a single 500 horsepower Chevy inboard motor. This boat is owned and throttled by Rob Coram from Altamont Springs, Florida, and his driver is Ralph Hudson from Alabama. This is their first official Offshore Powerboat Racing Association circuit run, and they're very excited about it. A few interesting facts behind Smoking Section. The boat was built in Alabama, and they've come down here in Florida to race. A few people that they'd like to thank who's made it all possible here for the Smoking Section race team is Coosa Resorts from Alabama, Quality Marine Supply, and Nicholas Marine, who have all done a great job in lending support and sponsorship in helping get the Smoking Section race team off the ground. The team of Corn and Hudson are doing a fine job bringing this boat down from Alabama, and they're looking very strong right now at this point in time. Obviously, we know what the 27-foot cigarette hull is about, and the heartbeat of America with that Chevy inboard has always been a strong-built race motor. So the combination of the Chevy motor, the cigarette hull, and the enthusiasm put out by Coram and Hudson make the Smoking Section race team a strong race crew, and obviously a team to be reckoned with in this race and through the 1989 campaign. A11, the Smoking Section race team. Smoking Section having a fine run in this race right now, and they are trying to smoke the rest of the competition in class. There you get a good overhead shot of just how rough it is. But right now we're coming up on a pro stock boat. Unofficially running in first place, P13, the boat known as Monkey Business. This is a 30-foot Chris Cat powered by three 275 horsepower Mercury outboard motors. This boat is owned and driven by Philip Feldman from Golden Beach, Florida. He's got Jeff Soffer as his throttle man from North Miami Beach, Florida, and Brian Sheraton is your navigator, also hailing from North Miami Beach. The More Monkey Business race team, they just recently took a first place in Sundays on the Bay, so they would love nothing more than to have another first place finish here today. Unofficially right now at this point in the race, they are running in first place in P class, holding off E&B Discount Marine in second, and the Agitator, who you saw at the beginning of the race at the start, is still running in third place right now. So More Monkey Business is having a very good run right now. Feldman really has this boat dialed in quite nicely, and Saffer on the throttles is doing the best he can to perform admirably to get this boat through these rough seas. Just look how rough it is right here at this leg of the race, and you can see how the entire boat, as well as the props of those Mercury outboards, come fully out of the water. And that's the point when Saffer must back off on the throttle, and as soon as they engage the water again, put that throttle right down. It requires quite a bit of coordination and dexterity, and there you get a perfect idea of what we're discussing. There's a close-up shot of the engines on More Monkey Business. You see them all taped down, strapped in. It is very rough. These motors are certainly getting a workout here today. Oh, and there you get an idea of just how rough it is when that engine cover of the middle motor just happened to come right off its hinges there, literally, but it is back in place, being held on by the duct tape. It is very rough, and you get an idea of just the punishment that these engines are taking. So you can imagine how rough it is to be a member of this crew right now. You're a single 260 horsepower GM inboard outboard. This boat is owned and driven by Paul Smith from Venice, Florida, and on throttles he's got Bobby Baggett doing the job today. So the crew of Smith and Baggett making up the Blue Bayou race team. Blue Bayou is having a fine day. With the rough conditions that you've been seeing, for a 21-foot boat to still be running at this point of the race, that is obviously an accomplishment and a feat just in itself. So when they're running this well at this point in the race, that is certainly an accomplishment. And that's More Monkey Business, who we saw earlier on, going by on the outside. Obviously different class boats, different competition, so no problem. But these guys come out here and put on quite a show in these smaller 21-foot boats, and they really pay the price. But when they're running this hard in these rough sea conditions, it is really a true test of fortitude amongst the crew as well as the boat. So with that in mind, let's sit back and watch your crew really go at it and pay the price in the Blue Bayou race crew. Now we're back to D39, Spirit Special, the boat headed up by Mandy Fernandez. As you recall earlier on, Spirit Special was dead in the water, obviously with some mechanical failure, but they're back racing right now. They don't seem to be running as strong as they were earlier on. This could possibly be some strategy that Mandy has figured out, that he is unable to run as strong as he'd like to, but at least by running at these speeds, he can keep the boat running and finish the race. He's presently running in third place in class. He's running behind Runaway, who's in first, Assault is in second, and Mandy has come up to take third place right now and is trying to close the gap between himself and Assault, but running at these speeds, it will be difficult. but it is better to be running at this point in the race than not be running, because by placing he will get some points, which will obviously keep him in competition for the overall championship in his category of Sportsman D class. So we wish him all the best here today, as Mandy Fernandez, the true competitor that he is, and doing a great job on the throttling, as you can hear, continues to charge hard and try to overcome the second place boat and finish as high as he can in the standings here today. D39 Spirit Special, headed up by the great Mandy Fernandez. Mandy Fernandez's Spirit Special having a good run and closing the gap on your second place boat in his class, the Assault Race Team in D class. That's more monkey business on the inside right there. As we round the checkpoint, you really see how rough it is. It's been a rough race all day, and the seas do not seem to be letting up one bit at this point in the race. Back to Spirit Special. There we go, flying over Spirit Special, picking up our next competitor. Here we're coming up on a very competitive boat. This guy has done it all in 1988. Basically, 1988 has belonged to this race team. And as we come up on the side of him, that's right, I'm sure you're making it out also. This is B46, Regal Velocity. This is a 30-foot Velocity powered by twin 340 horsepower OMC inboard motors. This boat is owned by Gene Whip from Sarasota, Florida. It is driven by Steve Kildall from Sarasota and Steve Stepp on throttle from Lake Mary, Florida. As I mentioned before, Regal Velocity has owned the 1988 campaign in the B division. They've locked it up. They took a first place in Panama City. They took a first place in Sundays on the Bay. They took a first place in St. Petersburg Beach, Florida. So what more can they do but take a first place today? And they certainly are running very, very hard in the B division. They're dueling it out right now with Turn of the Century and Crack Conch in that class right here. Turn of the Century presently running in first place, Regal Velocity in second place. We'll have to wait and see. Will their streak of 3 first place finishes be broken here today at Isle Morada, or will they be able to dominate their competition and continue on and take 4 first place finishes? They're doing a great job. The crew of Kildall and Stepp have done it all year, and they want to do it today.
But there ain't no bar. Wind up the bass, giving you the music, shut down the place, yeah. I said me come in and dance only for woman around me. Them women say you too sexy, you too in the vibe that you take. Drugs on me take it, and I said shake your body, 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 shake. Wind up the bass, giving you the music, rock down the place, rock down the place. We make some vibe, we make one, go off the market.